Alright, hello everyone. We're back here for another tutorial, and what I'm going to do for this hole, I've been bringing machete. So just as kind of a safety precaution, I'm going to go Apoc and machete, and some kind of either power 4 or power 3 ball. So here you can see that I have Kingmaker on. If you wanted to use a royal ball, that would also, be a favorable ball, especially if you have a Apoc 4, for instance. But what I'm going to try to do is I've been trying to beat it up here and just try to get it up to that last fairway. If I don't, then I still have machete. So what I'm looking at is kind of my max ring adjustment, maybe 6 rings here. I'm going to fractionally take off power, not very much. So this is not quite going to be a full shot, but it's going to be very close. And I did block that out a couple rings. It looks like a 2-ring pull to the left, which may end up shooting this. Yeah, so it keeps it kind of away from that edge, but here you can see that we are right in the rough here. And, that's the reason that we're bringing machete, is because we're going to be able to, so if we were to lay up and try to do this with a long iron, it wouldn't backspin. So it almost seems, intelligent, in my opinion, to, intentionally drive it in the rough. I mean, the ultimate goal is to get to that last fairway. If you can't do it, it's no big deal. And I'll show you the shot as to why it's no big deal. I've made this a few times already. And, it just kind of comes down to perfect ball, playing your wind effect, rings as well, all that just kind of, it's right around kind of a mid-club range. So let me size this up for you guys. So what I'd usually play is maybe 2 something per ring. Here I'm going to play it maybe right around 3 per ring or so. And you can see that, I'm just going to kind of put this ball guide kind of right behind the hole, kind of like this, with a little bit of wind effect. So you can see that I'm kind of calculating the wind a little bit. I expect the wind to kind of push it a little bit extra. And as I mentioned, maybe very close to 3-ish per ring. So almost 3 rings, just a little bit less. And just kind of comes down to perfect ball. Looks like I got it. And let's just see how this plays out. So you can see that it's right on that sucker. So just missed it, just fractionally an underplay. But it's the only way that you can really get that to come back very easily. Long iron will not do it. It's, the longer you get out there, the harder that first bounce is, and the more that it kind of takes away from your backspin. So the only way you can really get that one is with a rough iron or a short iron. Of course, a wedge, but you'll never get up to wedge distance. What's really nice is if you can get to the top of that little island fairway, you'll be right at Min Thorn, and it's a very, very easy pitch from Min Thorn. But it was very easy from where I was as well. I was almost able to get it there, and it's just going to kind of come down to perfect ball, making sure that your ring adjustment looks pretty good. And aside from that, make sure that you're factoring in wind effect. So you can see kind of the way that I have, it offset to the side before I even start my ring adjustments, because I know that wind effect is there. It exists. Once the ball actually goes into the air, then it's going to have, that left to right no matter what. So I just give it, between 0 and 1 side spin, just to get it kind of started a little bit. You don't want to get carried away with that right spin, because then it'll start to cut too much of an angle. It'll be very, very hard to predict. But I do play, I do recommend playing it pretty tight behind the hole, kind of like I did, and just try to, get that ring adjustment almost perfect. It plays pretty much from that situation 3 per ring, but I just have to go a little bit beyond that because I need to consider that wind adjustment. So, 3 per ring would be 2.5 rings. You saw me go maybe 2.7 rings, 2.8 rings. So it was just a little bit of an overcorrection because I know that wind effect is going to be kind of an influence. So let's see what this looks like. Pretty challenging wind. I usually play this pretty close to 1 per. And I'll try to do kind of a offset ball guide when we play this hole like this. Let's see how this comes in. Pretty good overall. That's going to be pretty hard to beat. So I almost have to get up there. There's very, very little window of opportunity for me to beat that without actually getting that up there. So we'll see what I can do here. The spot that I like to start at is kind of right in here somewhere. You can see that it just kind of gives you some room for error. What I'm going to do is almost 2 side spin here. And just a hair of backspin as well. You can see what I'm doing with my line. And aside from that, I go pretty much 1-to-1 here. That's 9 rings. Shouldn't hurt anything. So let's see what this looks like. So far so good. So far so good. And it's just rolling off. So let's see if I can hold 6 some yards. Looks like I almost had the line down. And, you know, just a hair more backspin than it would have actually stayed up on that surface. You can see I can just come inside there and take that victory just barely. But there you have that hole, guys. You know, good luck with that 4th hole, and be on the lookout for a revision for hole 5 coming up.